Since we're on the topic of war, let's look at what India's been up to on that front. It's ramping up its defense capabilities, focusing on conventional weapons like the Brahmos and Pralay missiles. A few days ago, India successfully test-fired a Brahmos supersonic missile, the first such launch from INS Mormugao. It's a guided missile destroyer. Also, the Pralay missile. 120 such missiles were ordered last December. Another 250 will be bought soon by the Indian Defence Ministry. These weapons are used for non-nuclear warfare. India is arming itself considering the border tensions with China and, of course, the perpetual challenges vis-a-vis Pakistan. Unfortunately, both are nuclear-armed nations. So to avoid a nuclear escalation, India needs to be ready to fight a prolonged war with conventional weapons. Our next report tells you more.
The Indian Defence Forces are upgrading their arsenal, their missile arsenal to be specific. India recently test-fired the medium-range Brahmos missile. The Brahmos isn't new, of course, but this test marked the first time it was fired from a guided missile destroyer. The Brahmos missile was launched from the INS Mormugao. The Indian Navy said that the missile successfully hit the bullseye. Brahmos is a portmanteau of the words Brahmaputra and Moskva, rivers in India and Russia respectively. That's to signify that the missiles are jointly developed by the two countries. But India is not resting on its laurels. It's not just relying on the Brahmos missile series. It's also stepping up the production of its Pralay ballistic missiles. Pralay means apocalypse. These are shorter-range conventional missiles. Conventional means they aren't made to carry nuclear weapons. India already has the Prithvi and Agni series for that. The Pralay missiles have a different purpose. They can be used in a conventional war without leading to an escalation. You see, India's most likely adversaries are China and Pakistan. Both of them are nuclear powers. Even if there's a war, none of the countries can really use their nukes. That would be mad. And we don't just mean that it's preposterous. In military terms, MAD stands for Mutually Assured Destruction. Basically, that's where everyone dies. No one will fight a war that way. But that doesn't mean India's neighbors won't try and invade. China tried that in 2020 in India's Ladakh region. There still hasn't been a disengagement there. And as for Pakistan, it has done everything from sponsoring terror to declaring war. So it's a smart idea for India to be prepared. That's where the conventional weapons like the Brahmos and the Pralay missiles come in. They'll help India defend itself without having to resort to nukes. India's Defence Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, recently finished testing the Pralay missiles. Like we mentioned earlier, they're short-range missiles. They have a range between 150 to 500 kilometers. The Pralay missiles are surface-to-surface missiles, meaning they're launched from the ground. The Pralay missiles will complement India's Brahmos stockpile and give the country an added military dimension. The Indian Ministry of Defence cleared an order for 120 of them last December. Reports say that an additional order for 250 Pralay missiles is in the works. And who will get them? A whole new division. India is planning to set up an integrated rocket force. The IRF will handle India's Pralay and Brahmos missiles. It will also take care of other conventional missiles and India's rocket launch systems. The rocket force won't be in charge of nuclear weapons though. Those will still fall under India's Strategic Forces Command. Nonetheless, India's integrated rocket force will have control over its conventional missile assets, and it will coordinate with other branches of the Indian military. This helps streamline India's defense and plan for a swift response in the face of aggressive neighbors.